What is up, guys? Rick Kackis here, and today we are going to be discussing a bunch of Destiny 2 information. Now that's because with the Destiny 2 World Gameplay premiere, it was kind of a cluster schnuts. There was a bunch of information from a bunch of different sources all coming out at relatively the same time. So it's very easy to miss things, and still to this day, people are discovering certain screenshots or certain parts of the gameplay premiere, which itself is nearly an hour long. So again, all of these little things add up. So today we're going to talk about all of those aforementioned little things. Details that you may have missed watching the gameplay premiere, watching these informational videos. We're going to go over pretty much all of it today. So, hope you guys enjoy the video. Now, let's start out here with Iron Banner. If there's any doubt in your minds of if Iron Banner is returning in Destiny 2, the short answer is yes, it's returning. We have direct evidence showcasing players utilizing Iron Banner gear. We very clearly see the Iron Banner logo. It's very predominant in the gameplay trailer with this hunter jumping and slashing a Cabal with this katana-like sword. Now this has caused a little bit of a row because people are saying, well, you're already using a katana and the armor looks like it has an Asiatic theme, a samurai-like theme. Could the Iron Banner armor in Destiny 2 take after the Japanese style of samurais? Well, it's possible. It's definitely possible. To me, I think it's almost a little bit of a leap. It has a futuristic aspects too, so it's not going to be like purely accurate to that samurai armor. I think it's mainly just going to be that medieval feel. And yes, it may have a Japanese-inspired medieval feel this time around, but we already do have several cultures represented in Iron Banner armor. Like, we have clear Viking influences with the Iron Banner armor, especially with the horns on it. And then we have more Central European influences with chainmail, just with plate mail-like designs. So we already have different cultures represented, although they mainly are European. We definitely could branch out and see more of Japanese style, Asiatic style within Destiny 2. Now the interesting thing that kind of caught my interest and I want to share with you guys is we see this hunter wearing all Iron Banner stuff, like clearly decked out in Iron Banner gear. So is he using an Iron Banner weapon as well? Will there be an Iron Banner sword? That is a very interesting question because it may well be. As you can see here, there's another sword. And here, there's another sword. We're seeing a lot more swords just in the gameplay premiere trailer. We see 3 entirely different swords. And then we also have the DLC sword that you get for getting the Digital Deluxe Edition. We have a lot of melee weapons. We have a lot of swords going in to Destiny right now. So it's entirely possible that Bungie just went ham with melee weapons in Destiny 2. And we're going to have Iron Banner swords. We're going to have faction swords. We're going to have even Foundry swords. Something like a Haka sword. A Suros sword as well. That's entirely possible. And it's very exciting to think of the possibilities that are going to be in Destiny 2. Now, on the topic of melee weapons, we actually have some PvP gameplay from Game Informer showcasing some very unique things. We're actually going to go over it again later because it does showcase some different subclass abilities that we haven't yet seen in the reveal stuff. Now, in this Game Informer gameplay, a Titan jump into the air with a sword and smash the ground for a devastating effect. Now, this is really interesting, right? Is this an exotic sword being used, like smashing the ground? Is that his exotic ability, or is it just a new ability added to swords? When we saw the katana being used earlier, it did not do this mid-air attack. The guy just swang in the air, kind of like you do right now if you use a melee ability with a sword in the air. You just do that swing attack. But a smash is definitely something unique. So this could be a look at a new exotic sword in Destiny 2. Or perhaps, almost a more interesting and exciting possibility is that this could be a look at different kinds of swords in Destiny 2. What if swords are just properly added into the game in D2 like a normal weapon? Like you can get a bunch of different auto rifles with different perks. What if you could just do that with swords? In Destiny right now, every sword is unique and particular to certain activities and does certain things. It would be really awesome to just see swords put into the loot table like other weapons, and that would open up some very interesting possibilities. Maybe this is a legendary sword with a specific sword perk that lets you slam the ground when you're in midair. That is a really cool possibility. Now, very quickly, because we just talked about the Iron Banner, some of you may be wondering about Trials of Osiris. Now, I have done an entire video just dedicated to talking about all of the Trials information, and definitely watch that if you want the full scope of everything going on, but essentially, Trials is pretty much confirmed. In Destiny 2, Luke Smith and Mark Noseworthy, both big Destiny 2 developers, have said there is going to be a Trials-like experience within the launch window of Destiny 2. So potentially not like the first weekend after release, but soon after that, we will get Trials with just buying the base game. But again, a Trials-like experience. It might not be the exact Trials that we know and love and or hate, but it will certainly be inspired by it. Now we then have some information about the potential maximum level in Destiny 2. Now this is coming from a Destiny 2 Reddit leak, and this leak came out earlier in the day to the gameplay premiere event and really was a legitimate leak in the sense that it talked about the redone weapon system and stuff like that, stuff that we really didn't see before the gameplay premiere. So again, this leak does seem legitimate. Now it mentioned that the level cap in Destiny 2 is 20. Just like it was in the original Destiny release. However, it's very important to remember that the leveling system completely changed over time within Destiny. We had the original leveling system where you got to level 20 and then your armor determined your overall level. However, it wasn't like a light level we have now, it was actual level. If you had enough light in your armor, you would advance to up to level 30. However, with this new leveling system introduced in the Taken King, all of your gear is taken into account and you have an overall light level that is a lot more malleable. Now what I mean by this is that when you had the original light level system, if you were level 29 and you were versing a level 30 enemy, you were at a huge disadvantage. You took like 15% more damage and did 15% less damage. That's not good. But now, there's a lot more leeway. You can be 399, you can be 398, and it's not going to be a huge difference when versing an enemy that is, let's say, 400 light. Now, it should be noted that during the gameplay premiere, the light level of everyone was 200. It's unknown what the actual light level will be in Destiny 2. However, the interesting part is that the level of 20 may never change. When new expansions come, the only thing that Bungie may change is the maximum light level, as they have been doing recently with Destiny. And the grind from 1 to 20 will just be for new players, and that will be universal throughout the game's history. That's a very interesting thing to think about. Now the next thing we're going to talk about is information about the other subclasses. And I mean other because at the gameplay premiere, you were able to play as, firstly, the remade Striker Titan, secondly, the remade Gunslinger Hunter, and then lastly, the kind of new Dawnblade Warlock. However, some gameplay has come out from Game Informer showcasing some first-player perspectives from the other classes. We're talking the Sentinel Titan, the remade Defender, and the remade Blade Dancer Hunter with the Arc Strider, also known as the Pole Dancer Hunter. Anyways, firstly we can see from this screenshot here showcasing Sentinel first-person gameplay that the magnetic grenade seems to be returning. We see that symbol yet again. We also see what looks like the same force barrier melee that's currently with the Defender. And lastly, we see the class ability for the Sentinel, which appears to just be a wall. Now this is the exact same wall in appearance as the class ability for the Striker, where you have the opportunity to, you hold circle and you put down this barrier. Now for the Striker, you could choose to do a large barrier that would cover your entire body. It was a very good way to block off an entire area, or you could choose a smaller barrier that you would crouch behind and you could poke out and shoot enemies over top of it. We only see the large barrier in use for the Sentinel, but again, that gives us an idea of what abilities that class will have, at least what it has right now in this state of the game. Again, we also see some first player gameplay with the Arc Strider showcasing what appears to be the same symbol as skip grenades. Yep, everyone's absolute favorite grenade, the skip grenade, is returning. But after that, we see actually what looks like a little bit of a different melee ability. It could still be a blink strike with a new symbol, but it could also be something different. And then lastly, we see honestly what looks like the blink strike symbol is now kind of the class ability. Now this is speculation, but I really do think the class ability for the Arc Strider will just be turning invisible. That kind of makes sense from that class's perspective. Heck, they did it through other means where crouching would turn you invisible, where you would turn invisible within your super, where you could turn invisible through meleeing an enemy, maybe just giving you the opportunity to pure turn invisible when you want. With the class ability is going to be something that appears in Destiny 2. Now moving on from there, the last thing we're going to cover is the rumors of dual wielding in Destiny 2. Now this has been kind of a big thing in Destiny and Destiny 2 for a very long time. People wanting, an exotic that you can dual wield hand cannons, right? And although that still is a possibility, we might see an exotic hand cannon that has dual wielding in Destiny 2. It's certainly not confirmed. Now these rumors started from a website called Game Rant. They had an interview that they were talking about the new weapon system, and nothing was said about akimbo weapons. It was just commented that you can switch quickly between kinetic weapons and energy weapons, and that they had a special relationship in the sense that, you're switching to your energy weapon to take down shields and then switching to your kinetic weapon to finish an enemy off, for example. They also have different uses. Energy weapons actually deal more damage to enemy supers in PvP and stuff like that, but nothing was said that you could dual wield, and it doesn't even make sense that you're not supposed to dual wield a kinetic weapon and an energy weapon at the same time. It just doesn't make sense. You can use the same weapon in those slots. You can use a hand cannon that's kinetic and use a hand cannon that's elemental in the energy weapon slot at the same time, but you're going to be using one and then switch to the other. You can't use both of them at the same time. So this is kind of just dispelling that rumor. And so guys, that's going to be it for today's video, just covering those pieces of information. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and found it informative. Now if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content, be sure to slap that subscribe button. And if you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at @RickKackis. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.